Today I'd like to talk about a building that I had erected about 16 years ago. Due to zoning regulations in our town, the building couldn't be bigger than 420 square feet. So I finally decided on a dimension of 14 wide by about 30 foot deep. The building's about 10 foot high. So I figured I could get a car in this building and still have enough depth where I could get a workbench and a couple of tools that I needed, like an engine stand or engine lift. At the time I wasn't really thinking about putting a car lift in this garage. I just felt it was a little too small, a little too tight. I figured the height, even being at 10 feet, some of my cars, I couldn't get them up high enough to work underneath it standing up comfortably enough. I'd have to be slouched over or something. But then I figured, I'm getting older. My knees are killing me. I don't like working under cars anymore on my back and a creeper, dragging a trouble light around. So I decided, even if, I was able to sit on a chair with wheels or a roly-poly or something, it would be better than laying on my back. So I decided to go with a lift. I decided on a Bendpak. I decided on a 4-post. The reason I decided on a 4-post is because the concrete in this garage is not very good. It's only 4 inches thick. I would not feel comfortable or safe putting in a 2-post lift. That was number one. Number two, I didn't feel like with a 2-post lift that I wanted to bother with the setting the arms. So you pull in the garage, you got to get on your knees, you got to set the arms to the right pick points and before you make the lift. And then still, to me, sometimes it just doesn't feel stable enough when that car is lifted up on just the arms with a 2-post. And second of all, it's so easy right now the way I got it set up, and I'll show you in a second. I got a concave mirror in front of the vehicles when you pull in, so I can see exactly where my front wheels are in relationship to the on-ramps, and then just drive right up on the ramps. You're up on the lift in 2 seconds. So that's another reason I went with the 4-post. The reason I finally convinced on the Bendpak was that they use safety locks that are pneumatic, so they're actually an air release type of lock. Some of the lifts that I had looked at, and I'm talking about, these standard lifts that you see that are $3,000–4,000, they use sort of a mechanical device that you have to push to keep the locks disengaged when you're going to lower the vehicle. And I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to be able to push a button, release all 4 locks, and then just take the lever and down we go. So that was one of the reasons I chose the Bendpak. I didn't feel that it was that much better than any other budget lift that was out there. So I'm going to show you around the lift a little bit and some of the maintenance things that I do every few months. Oh, one more thing that I'd like to mention. The model number that I got on the Bendpak was an HD9XW. In hindsight, I probably should have got the HD9. They were both 9,000 pound capacity lifts, but the HD9XW is a longer lift. It's like 224.5 inches overall length. The runways are about 188 inches, which is the ramps. And on the HD9, the length of the runway is 164 inches, and the overall length is 200 inches. So I could have saved 2 feet of space in the garage by going with the shorter lift. And when you stop and think about it, like the wheelbases on my cars are 120, 125 inches. It would have been fine on 160, what was it, 164-inch runway. So in hindsight, I probably would have gotten the HD9, and you would have saved, I don't know, $200–300 by going with the shorter lift. Okay, so now we'll take a look around. Okay guys, here we are coming along, and this is the garage. So now as we enter, you can see the lift. And you can kind of get an idea of the tightness in the garage for the lift. Okay, this might be tough to see, but I'm looking through the windshield of the vehicle, and ahead of me I have a concave mirror that I mounted on the back wall of the garage. This helps me to see and line up the front wheels to the ramps. Otherwise, I can't see the ramps that well when I'm pulling in. And now we're on the ramps, and we should be pretty square with them. Okay, I'm going to raise the vehicle now. Just make sure your vehicle is set on the ramps that you have wheel chocks on the rear and the front, just to make sure that that car can't travel anywhere on that ramp. These are the on-ramps, and actually they're removable. So there's times when you're going to use the lift and you don't want those on after you've used it, because you can easily hit your head with these things as they hang down, and I'll show you in a second. You can easily see how these ramps hang down as the lift is going up, but you can pull this rod right out and take this on-ramp right off. So if you're worried about hitting your head or something, that wouldn't be a worry with that thing off for now. This is the power and hydraulic unit. It's 220 volt single phase, and it takes about 20 amps. Okay, I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is the button on the power hydraulic unit that you press to raise the lift. When you hear the click, that means the safety lock has engaged with one of the cutouts in what they call the ladder piece inside the columns. So when you've got the vehicle at the height that you want on the lift, then you come over to the lever that lowers the vehicle. This will lower the ramps until the lock's fully engaged with that ladder device. Press in, and the ramps will lower and then rest squarely on the safety locks within that ladder device. Over here, I don't know if you can see it, this button will release those safety locks. These are the safety locks that operate on air pressure. So what you want to do is, when you want to lower the vehicle, you want to raise the lift a little bit. That allows the locks to release. I don't know if you can hear that or not. And once they're released, then you can lower the lift. One of the disadvantages of the 4-post lift is if you got to do any wheel or brake work, you need to get the vehicle up off the ramps. So you can do it with bottle jacks or other things of that nature, but the easiest way is to get a rolling bridge jack. They're not cheap, but they make your life a lot easier. So you get a source of air, plug it in, and now you're ready to lift. You can position the rolling bridge jack by just rolling it on the track. You can extend the arms to wherever you need to, and if you have to, you can put extensions on. That way, you're almost assured to find the right pick point on your vehicle to make the lift. When it comes time to lower, next thing you do is make sure this release handle is back. This is like a safety lock, and I'll show you in a picture. Press the other button, down, and you're down. Take off your extension, slide in your arm, and you're ready to roll. Let me show you the safety lock on this jack. As you're raising up, this handle will drop down at different pivot points as the jack is raising. That assures that the lift will not collapse on you. Just bring it back down until it locks, and you're all set. Now, when you want to lower the jack, just press forward to release the locks. Now you can push the handle forward and let the jack come down. And you're all set. Okay, so in that last scene, I didn't lift the car very high. I just wanted to show you the movement of the lift. I had the garage door open, so usually when I lift the vehicle, the garage is closed. That way I can utilize the full height of the ceiling area. The black Cadillac, my 67, the red one, and the Camaro, all of those vehicles I have no problem walking under. I can get the car high enough where that isn't a problem. So right now we'll take a look at some of the maintenance items that I do on a regular basis. I've had this lift for about 8 years now. Thankfully the main cable is still in good shape, but there's certain things that you should take a look at periodically and some maintenance items that you should do. Okay, before I forget, I just want to mention one other thing. This particular lift, I installed it completely myself, just by myself. The hardest part of it was getting those runway ramps on, because I think they weigh between 300 and 400 pounds a piece, and they're a beast. But I had an engine lift, and I was able to utilize that to place the ramps, but they are heavy. The most critical thing to me is getting the 4 posts alignment just perfect. You have to be totally square with those posts for everything to operate smoothly. Okay, so now what we're going to do is probably take a look at the cable itself. We're going to do a visual inspection of the cable to make sure there's no fraying, no broken wires on the cable, and then we're going to lubricate it, and we're going to use like a 90 weight gear oil. So I take a cup, pour some in there, and I take a brush, and then we're just going to saturate that cable within the column. And also we're going to spray the sides of the column and the back side of the column to make sure the blocks, the alignment blocks, run smoothly in that column. Okay, it's our cable within the column. We're going to give it a visual inspection from top to bottom, making sure that there's no problem with the cable, that it's nice and smooth, there's no fraying going on, there's no broken wires within the cable. After we've looked at that and inspected and make sure it's okay, then we'll goop up with our 90 weight oil on the brush, making sure we get plenty on there so that it can soak in as much as it can. It's important to keep this cable lubricated. It'll prolong the life of it. After we've done the full length with the oil, then take our WD-40 or a light oil and spray the inside of the column to make it smoother for the alignment blocks to go up and down. Okay, contained within the ends of each cross member, you'll have pulleys, your airlock release, and a spring-activated cable safety lock. So we'll take a look at one. I removed the inspection cover on this one over here, so we can take a look inside. Here you'll see the air cylinder that activates the safety lock, which is here. This spring, and it's hard to see, I can't really get in there to show you, but that's part of the slack safety lock. If something happens to the cable or some other structural thing, that's like an emergency lock that'll take over. So let me see if I can show you how that works as far as the airlock. So now, with the plunger completely retracted in the cylinder, the safety lock is fully engaged on the ladder within the column. Now as I raise the lift, you'll see the movement of that plunger. And as it engages into the next ladder hole, that plunger will move, and then when I bring the lift down, now it's fully retracted and the safety lock is fully engaged. Now, to bring the lift fully down, I've got to raise the lift a couple inches. Now I can press in the air button, keeping it held in. Now the safety locks are fully disengaged. Now I can lower the lift. So now I've raised the lift. We're under the power ramp, which contains the hydraulic cylinder and most of the cables. We want to do the same thing here. We want to visually inspect every cable for any type of fraying or broken wire, and then we're going to lubricate every one of these cables with the gear oil. Make sure we get plenty on there. I'm not going to bore you with doing this, but I just want to show you that this is something that has to be done. Okay, so now after we've done everything as the inspection for the cables, then we also have to do the pulleys. They have grease fittings, and we're going to take a look at that next. Okay, so here we are under the ramp, and you'll notice that we have some pulleys, shivs here, that have grease fittings, so we want to make sure we give these a shot. And see if I can turn this here so you can see the ends of the cross members. We also have pulleys, and make sure you give these a shot of grease also. Okay, so there's a little information on the lift that I have in a small, kind of a tight garage, but it serves its purpose. So if you got any questions that I can answer, if I can, leave them in the comments section. Next week I think I might talk about the power that's in this garage. There's not very much, and I'll tell you what I did to power up the lift and the air compressor. And also I might mention a project car that I've had for 10 years that I think I'm going to get back on it. I've got to get it done. Time is running out for me, so I want to get this finished, and I might mention that next week too. So I guess I'll talk to you later. See ya.